Episode 23 of the Geekdom101 podcast originally aired on July 8th, 2019, and we're talking about the release of the Sega Genesis Mini, and I was joined by Mr. Eddie to discuss some of our favorite Genesis games from the list and stuff that was missing from the original Sega Genesis Mini. So we go through all kinds of nostalgic fun times. Mr. Eddie and I used to have a podcast many years ago, back in the 2010s, early 2010s, called Pixels and Bits, and this was like our big reunion, doing a show about Sega Genesis. And of course, Mr. Eddie would come back in a future episode to discuss the PlayStation memories too, but for this one, we go back and talk about Sonic and Jam Earl and Sunset Riders and Altered Beast and all the classic Genesis games. So let's go ahead and get to it. If you're a classic gaming nerd or a fan of this era, even if you were born after, you're going to love this show. Episode 23 from July 8th, 2019. And we're back here on the Geekdom101 podcast. And joining me on this edition, let's welcome him back, the former, well, not really former because the show's not really fully over. I'm sure we'll go back to it at some point, but my co-host of Pixels and Bits, he's back here on the Geekdom101 podcast with the Sega Genesis Mini coming out. Let's go back and talk about our memories of the Sega Genesis. Please welcome back to the show, I've said that 3 times already, Mr. Eddie.
Lee, thanks for having me on.
Yes, it's good to have you on. People who have been wanting new PMB, they're going to have to deal with this. But it's just as good, if not better.
It's just under a different name, that's all. It's all the same.
A very much a different name, yeah. What was that Krusty the Clown catchphrase? It's not good, it's good enough.
It's not just good, it's good enough. Actually, I think this is Pixel and Bits with a new hat. But it's not a new hat.
Right. Let's all make cookies for the boys.
Don't ask me. I'm just a girl.
I wish they taught shopping in school.
Something's wrong with what my Malibu Stacy says. Thumbs up. So it's like,
no.
Anybody needs a web slinger?
A web slinger. Yeah, that's right. Classic. So, Ed, tonight we're talking about...
We're already off the rails.
Always. We're talking about Sega Genesis Mini. It's coming out. It's been a trend. We've seen the N64... Oh, I'm sorry. That's later. The NES, the SNES, the PlayStation Mini, which was trash. When we talked about that last time you were here. The Neo Geo Mini, which has all kinds of weird problems, which sucks. I was going to get that, but it's all weird.
I'd like to think that the Mini and Neo Geo is still 5 times bigger than all the other systems.
You would assume so, yeah. It's like as big as a regular computer monitor, which is still smaller than the real one. And then now we have the Sega Genesis one. Now here's what's interesting is this is not the first version of this console. There was a third-party Genesis Mini that came out years ago. In fact, if you remember, our friend Mark bought it. Remember that day?
Oh, poor Mark. He got so hosed on that.
Yeah, because the controls were horrible.
Yeah, I mean, how do you get it wrong? How do you get controls that bad? I mean, I've got a Bluetooth controller for my phone, and it's 1,000 times more responsive than this wired controller that actually goes to a device. How did it get... I mean, they got this so wrong.
No, Ed, remember... Ed, it was wireless. And
that's right, it was wireless.
It was wireless, and it would never work.
Yeah, do you remember the Nintendo controller? There used to be a wireless Nintendo controller, and it only worked with the input lagged like crazy. That's what this felt like. This was 1990 technology. And you had to stand right in front of the system for it to work. You had to be pointing right at it. If you move your controller even a little bit to the left or right, it just wouldn't work. It was terrible. I felt so bad for him because he was so excited for it. I think when he hooked up the real controller to it, it was better.
Yeah, we all were excited, but that wound up being a flop. So this Genesis Mini is going to be the actual new, official Genesis Mini coming out in September. And now, before we go any further, what are you drinking right now?
Oh, you'll love this one because I drink the weird shit. Oh, Ed, what do you have, a Corona or a Bud Light? No. I've got a white chocolate mocha latte, and the name is Sliding into the DMs.
That sounds absolutely delicious. I got a big smile on my face right now.
It's not the best. I picked it up because of the name. The other one, and you'll love this, for real, it's a brewing company called Evil Genius. They had one that was I couldn't because it just sounds terrible. It was a peanut butter chocolate stout, and it was called Purple Monkey Dishwasher.
That sounds incredible. What was the name of that drink that your family invented that has a wacky name? G-Funk.
Oh, Don.
Yeah.
Yep, go for it.
What was it? Oh, God, it's been so many years. This is like from literally years ago.
It was straight up G-Funk with a gangsta twist.
Straight up G-Funk with a gangsta twist, which is it's like a limoncello, right? Or something like that, right?
No, it was Malibu mixed with strawberry orange juice. No. Was it strawberry orange juice? It was like strawberry orange pineapple juice, and I think there's more vodka that goes into it. It tastes like you're drinking just like a fruit punch, and it will knock you on your ass because there's more alcohol than there should be in it. But we had a good
remember
night
that.
Everybody was happy with that.
Everybody loved it. Yeah, I do miss your spaghetti carbonara. Maybe next year for WrestleMania when you come down, we can have some more of it because you're a thrill to be around, Ed. So, what have you been playing lately? Well, what kind of games have been in your on your mind lately? Since we are the PMB, it's been a while, but it's still the same thing. What has been in your systems lately?
Actually, I'm glad you asked on that one, because normally I'd be like, well, I've been playing this really old game or this really old game. But I've actually been playing something new. I got Mario Maker 2, which, if you like Mario Maker 1, this is just more of the same, but I'm okay with that. And it's nice to have it on the Switch, which is, it's not even arguable. It's a better system than the Wii U.
Well, way better.
The Wii U was, it's just a great system, and it's really fun for it. And you got me playing Dragon Quest Builder.
Yes, I'm very happy about that.
Let's face it, it's Minecraft with a Dragon Quest theme, but you know what? It's enough that it's grabbed my attention. Like, all right, I'm going to keep building shit. It's just Minecraft. Yeah, I know, shut up, I'm playing.
Dude, that's the only Dragon Quest game in history that you've actually been further in than me. You are way further in that game than I am. Yeah, you're way beyond me in that game. But I'm glad you're liking it, and I haven't even played it yet, so go figure. I haven't really played it that deeply. And Part 2 is coming out, just a week or two, I think, but Dragon Quest Builders 2.
I get the feeling that I will get that down the road, but that's probably going to be after I'm done playing this, I'm going to be burnt out for a little bit on a building tile game. But like I said, everything comes in cycles. Once in a while, I'll be like, no, I got to play a farming game. Outbust Stardew Valley, which is fantastic, but I'll play that for a while. And then you're like, now I'm done with farming games for a little bit. But now I need to play a building game. So then you do Dragon Quest Builders. Then you need to play an RPG. I need something that I'm grinding and leveling up in. It's just you have a craving to do that once in a while. So I think this is going to satisfy my building creativity craze along with Mario Maker. And then it's going to be well, that's over with. What's next?
Platformer or, whatever. There's a lot of games coming out this year.
I think Bloodstained might be the next one.
That's a good one. Also, we got Pokemon Gen 8 coming out later this year, which is going to be a huge deal with it being on the Switch. Those graphics look incredible. We have a lot of stuff coming out, man. Final Fantasy VII Remake as well. There's a lot of good stuff. Link's Awakening. Oh, my God.
That does look good.
I'm hyped for that. That's a game that needed a remake.
I'm going to throw a question out for you before we get to the main topic and all that. The new Pokemon game. I was reading today that they are not going to have all the Pokemon.
Yes, people are pissed off about that. That was a story from last week. Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that. I am completely okay with that because there is something to be said about it's a game just being completely overwhelming. It's hey, you want to catch them all? There's 151. Yeah, it sounds like fun. Hey, you want to catch them all? There's 1,200 of them. That's fucking homework. I'm done.
Well, we're already in over. We're gonna be after this game comes out. We're gonna be over 900 easily.
Yeah, it's too many, and I'm okay with them cutting back. And I know some people are angry at it, and I maybe competitive battlers, they want to use their set. I can understand that. But there is something, part of the fun of Pokemon is that, you get to make your team and all that. But if every single Pokemon's available, you're just going to stick to the same teams that you always do. At least this way it's going to kind of force you to pick, maybe something out of your comfort zone.
Well, what they should
we'll see how it goes.
What they should do is give you the option to do that at the end of the game. The only thing is, I have a lot of Pokemon stored from Gen 7. As you know, you helped me trade a few of them. And I was looking forward to upgrading them into the Gen 8, at least some of them. But I think what they're going to do... Now. I think so many people are going to complain about this that what they're probably going to do is going to re-release the game or do some kind of patch where you can do it. I don't see this being a forever thing. I really don't.
No, probably not. Do you think they're going to go the evil route and make you pay for it? Hey, you can unlock the rest of the Pokemon with our, $19.99.
If they did, they'd make a lot of money. I ain't going to lie. Let's be real here.
They won't make money off it. That's true.
Ed, is it sad that I end up playing my NES emulator on the Switch more than any other game?
No. There's some good games on there. There's some really good games on there.
I've been replaying the original Zelda.
Yeah, I told you what I was playing. Did we talk about that last time? The Zelda randomizer that had me hooked for a while?
Yes, and then you told me about this Turtles randomizer that or it's not really a randomizer.
It's not a randomizer. People, go right now because they're going to get sued and it's going to be taken away. So go now.
They're gonna get sued. Get it now before it's illegal.
Yeah, before.
Well, what is the name of the game?
It's called TMNT Rescue Palooza. If you're a fan of those old school Nintendo beat 'em ups, you have to go get this now. Like, don't just pause the video for a second and go do this, because by the time we're done recording, it could be gone. I'm waiting for the lawyers to come. But this guy made this loving tribute. I mean, this is handcrafted, lovingly made. It's a 30th anniversary of the old Nintendo beat 'em up, Turtles TMNT. This guy did it, so, I mean, the story is, you'll see right in the beginning, where Shredder's like, for your 30th anniversary, I have kidnapped everyone. It's like, you kidnapped everyone? It's like, everyone. He shows, like, everyone's kidnapped. Like, he's got April and Shredder and, April, Splinter, Casey Jones. They're all kidnapped. But you think of a Turtles character, and they are probably in this game. And once you save them, they are unlocked. You can play as April O'Neil. You can play as Irma. You can play as Vernon. You can play as the four frogs.
Genghis Frog, and the other ones nobody remembers. What popped me is you can play as Usagi Yojimbo.
You can play as him. You can play as all the villains too. You can play as the Rat King. You can play as Rocksteady and Bebop. You can play as the Foot Soldier. You can play. I think you played the Foot Soldier. You can play as the General Crag. You can play. I mean, if they're in there, you can play as Pizza Face.
That's fucking great.
Do you remember that terrible choice?
That's great. Can you play as can you play as Muck? Not Muck. What's the guy's name? Is his name Muck? Yeah, the Muck.
Oh, you fight him, but you can't play as him.
Damn, man. What about Wingnut and Screw Loose and Dirtbag? Can you play as them?
Yes, I believe you can play as all three of those. Yes, you can definitely do Dirtbag and Wingnut.
Can you play as? I don't remember. Can you play as Metalhead?
Yes. Metalhead and the other evil Metalhead, like the other robot, is in it.
There's another robot?
That's
right, the other evil robot. Yeah.
Chrome Dome.
That's right. He looks cool as fuck, by the way.
He's cool in the game, and it's that NES style. And some of the games are like platformers. Like there's some platforming in there, like you're playing the old Turtles for the original NES game before they made it.
Do they have swimming levels, Ed?
I have not had a swimming level.
Good.
I beat the game. I did not see a swimming level, but it is so much fun. I mean, look, it's free. You'll be done with it in a couple of hours. I mean, it's not like this is not life-changing. This is not going to be the game you play forever. But if you're a Turtles fan, you have to go give this a try. It's a free download. It'll be a couple of hours of just having so much fun with it.
That sounds amazing. So, wow. Okay, let's talk about Sega Genesis. I'm going to actually try that out. What was it called? Turtles what?
Turtle Rescue Palooza.
Rescue Palooza. Okay, I got to send it to a few of my friends. So, okay, here we go. The Sega Genesis Mini, we're going to talk about some of the games on here, and we haven't played all these games because Ed and I were mostly Nintendo people, but I did have a Sega, and Ed obviously played a lot of Sega games too, but a lot of us were Nintendo guys, and some of these games are actually on Nintendo. Like, it's not like they're just Sega games, but if you're a kid who grew up with the Genesis, one thing I will tell you, Ed, is I have learned to appreciate the Sega Genesis a lot more because I watched a lot of YouTubers that cover classic gaming, and there's a lot of games on Sega that I never even knew about that were fantastic. Just amazing freaking games that I never even heard about until I got on YouTube, and you see top 10 most underrated Genesis games, and there's so many great games there, and I'm like, I never heard of that, but and I'm just kind of now appreciating the system even more than I did when it was first out.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was a Nintendo brat. I've always admitted that. Like, Nintendo was always my system, which is funny. My best friend growing up was a Genesis kid, so that's how we played both. He played the Nintendo with me, I played the Genesis with him. And, yeah, I mean, even though it was a friendly rivalry, I mean, it's like, Genesis sucks, Nintendo's the best one, blah, blah, blah. I miss those days. Those were happy days. But no, there's no denying Genesis had a great library. They had a fantastic library of games. They had some of the best beat-em-ups. They had some of the best sports games. They had a couple of hidden RPG gems in there.
Yes, they did. They had a lot. And some really good platformers that either never got re-released, except for like the classic collections, or never even got sequels. Like, even to this day, we don't even have a sequel to Comic Zone or Vector. I mean, we have Vector Man 2, but we got nothing after that. And you would think they would go back and make another one, but no, like, trippy, you know? And we got a few very hard games.
So big.
And we have a few very, very difficult games as well. So,
you just named Comic Zone.
yeah, but Comic Zone
game was hard.
That was a brilliant game, though. That was the idea of like the way it was, the platforming is set up, and like you're in a comic book. Like it's graphically a beautiful game. I guess we'll start with that one. It's got a cool main character. It's so 90s. I mean, I love Comic Zone to death, and yeah, it is hard, but it's so good.
Rob Liefeld the game.
Right? Rob Liefeld the game, yeah. Now, Rob, your friend, though. Not him.
No,
the air is coming down. So,
honestly, I've been drinking, so I'm not even sure. Is his first name Rob? I'm just going to say Liefeld.
I think it is Rob, yeah. Now
it probably is.
Altered Beast. Did you know that Altered Beast was actually the first packaged in Genesis game before Sonic? Did you know that?
I actually did know that just because there's a couple of things I've read. Like, what was that? There was a Genesis book that came out not that long ago. It was really good. I will remember it before the end of the show, and I'll suggest it. But yeah, I do remember that. And it's not a bad game. Like, at the time, that was a pretty good package. That was a really popular arcade game. I mean, yes. I remember playing Altered Beast in the arcade.
Yes, it was better in the arcade, obviously, but Sega Genesis was a pretty good system when it came to replicating arcade stuff. Now, obviously not perfect, but I think they did it way better than Nintendo, because, you know, Genesis does what Nintendo don't, and that's like... Tell us about, like... I don't mind talking about that here for a second. Tell us about your Sega Genesis memories, not just the Genesis does thing, but, like, you know, like... What was it like? Because, I mean, I know I have my stories, but for you, what was it like living in that era? We both lived through it. You know, when there was that competition between the two. Like, I thought it was just, man, it's not quite the same anymore because the companies don't really attack each other anymore. The fact they kind of work together nowadays. That was like a Monday Night Wars type thing. You know what I'm saying? The way it was back then.
Oh, yeah, I totally. By the way, Console Wars. That's the name of the
Console
book.
Wars, yeah.
That was it's a good book, but if you're going to read it, just go in knowing that it is mostly historically accurate, but it's also liberties are taken to make it a more entertaining story. It's written more like a novelization of what happened as opposed to like this is a dry history of it. It is more like there's conversations between people that you know didn't happen that way. So great assault with it, but it is a fun read. But
it's like a Hulk Hogan book, basically.
Exactly. Right. But you know what? It's basically like historical fiction or historical drama. You know what? Fiction's not fair. Historical drama, like you know, when you watch something like
The Conjuring. The Conjuring is inspired by actual events, but they change everything to make it more interesting.
Exactly. Like this is actually what happened. These are the dates that things came out. But did they really talk like that? No, these probably aren't the actual conversations. But it's a fun book. But my memories, I have very happy memories of that, though. I mean, it was such a fun time to grow up if you're a video gamer because the console wars were a very real thing. Like you were either Team Nintendo or you were Team Sega. And like you said, I don't think it ever got bad. Like, I feel like people are real assholes today about, like, the PS4 is better than the Xbox One. It's like, it's the same fucking thing, guys. I mean...
Nah, PS4 is better.
Differences, but it's the fucking... I mean,
PS4 is better.
Real differences between Sega and Nintendo.
The views said here by Mystery do not reflect those of Geekdom101 or me. No, let's be real. PS4 is better.
From I've heard. So I've heard.
The Switch, though, it's on its way.
The Switch is not fun. The Switch is my favorite right now. Like, I like it. Look, I don't have the time I used to, so being able to play on the go or, you know, pick up and play, it's nice. That is a huge benefit, being able to play whenever I can. But the console wars were such a fun time. Like, I mean, I used to read the magazines. I would read the Sega magazine. I would read the Nintendo magazines. I'd read, like, the secondary magazines, like, you know, the ones that didn't have an affiliation. And what made it so cool was, like, nowadays, honestly, oh, I want to play this game. Well, yeah, you can play that on both systems. I want to play this game. Yeah, you can play that on both systems. But I want to play Sonic. No, Sonic is on this system.
Right.
No, I want to play Mortal Kombat, but I want blood in it. No,
that's right. There were some differences in the two ports for sure.
I want to play Aladdin.
Aladdin was a classic. And you know what, Ed? Aladdin is not on the list of mini games. That's a travesty.
That is. I bet you Disney said no.
In fact, I'll give you another one that is on the list. Strider. Strider on Sega Genesis was so much better than the NES version. I mean, it's like a different game.
It's a different game. It's name only. I mean, there were some games that were definitely better on Genesis. There were some games that were definitely better on Nintendo. But more importantly, there were games that were there was tons of games that were just one system or the other. Like, Sonic obviously is Sega. Mario was definitely only Nintendo. But even stuff like there was a game called General Chaos. That is a game that you could only play on Sega. Like, did you ever play that one? It was It was 1-on-1 versus you had an army of like 5 people, and you moved them around. It was like an action, over-the-top action game, like top-down view action game. Me and my friend Matt would play that all the time. We would have like full-out wars where you took over the map. I'm not doing a great job describing it because it's been like 20 years since I played it. But what a fun game! Like there was a rocket launcher guy, a machine gun guy, and it was cartoony. But you got to control these different 5 guys and move them around the screen, and you took control of one while the other ones were computer activated, and then you switched between the two, and you had to take over the map. And it was so much fun. And that was a Nintendo only, a Sega only exclusive. Any of the Mutant League games, Mutant League Football, Mutant League Hockey, only Genesis, and they were really fun games. But on the flip side, with Nintendo, I mean, Final Fantasy. You had Final Fantasy, Earthbound. There were games that only Super Nintendo had, and it was such a fun time. Because it wasn't like...
I just want to say I'm really, really happy that Earthbound got all the love that it deserves, because it's been getting a lot of love in the past few years. There's been like a resurgence of Earthbound fans, and I do hope we get Mother 4. I think it's been long enough.
I think the series is dead, but I would definitely play Mother 4.
Yeah, but everything comes back, and everything comes back, bro. We got a new Metro
true.
coming. It's too popular. It's got that cult following.
It does have a cult following, but you know what? I don't want it to come back just to be like a zombie. Like, if it comes back, it has to be good. But you know what? There's a couple of games out there that takes the Earthbound mantle. Like Undertale definitely has an Earthbound feel to it. Citizens of Earth has a very Earthbound feel to it. So there are some indie developers that are trying to take up the mantle for that wacky, like weird, fun, outside of the box style RPG. But you know, that's why it was so much fun back in the day, because it wasn't like nowadays. It's like, this game runs at a 5% faster frame rate than the other version, but I think this has a 2%
it was less nerdy
on the other one. With Genesis, it was, no, you can't play this game unless you have this. And Nintendo's like, you can't play this game. I mean, it's not just, it was slight tweaks. I mean, there were games, obviously, like Mortal Kombat 2 that had slight tweaks. There was Mortal Kombat 3 that had slight tweaks. There were games that had slight tweaks. But for the most part, it was, this is Nintendo's library, and this is Genesis's library, and never the twain shall meet.
And let's be real about it, Ed, too. The list for Genesis Mini is pretty impressive. I mean, it's only $80, and you can get a lot of mileage out of some of these games. So, at the very top of the list, we have Tetris, which you and I have talked about. I mean, you can't go wrong with Tetris. Tetris is impossible to get wrong.
It's hard to fuck up Tetris. Hey, EA, good job.
Right? Jesus.
How the fuck do you mess up Tetris?
So we have...
The 1979, I don't know if it's 79, I made up a date. But, I mean, it played on the fucking green and black screen computer in Russia. And you can't fucking get it right now. It's Tetris.
It's Tetris,
but I will say, Tetris 99 for Switch.
Amazing.
For free. What a fucking fun game.
The highest I got to like 4, I think. 4 or 5 is the highest I ever got. It's very hard.
Shame on me. I've never gotten to the top 10.
I only did it a couple times, Ed. I only did it a couple times.
But what a fun game. Like, talk about, like, I mean, for free, they hit a home run with that. Like, Holy shit.
Yes. Now, then after Tetris, we have Darius. Now, I love Darius. Darius is basically a side-scrolling shooting game, like UN Squadron, those type of games. You know, the ship is on the left, shooting on the right. I love those games, Ed. Ed, Japan, a lot of people don't know this, but there are 2 systems in Japan that we never really got at the library of here because of these kind of games. Sega Saturn and the PS Vita had a lot of amazing Japan-only games that were just like Darius, like shooting games, and I love those games. They're so much fun. They're all good. So putting Darius on here, I think, is a good move.
I think it's a good move. I mean, there's nothing wrong with like a shmup. I mean, a space shooter is just a fun style of game.
They're awesome.
They're underrepresented now. The problem is that, I mean, too often now, like when you get a new shmup, it becomes that bullet hell game, which is less than big. I mean, you can classify, you can name things whatever you want. To me, that's more of a memorization game. When there's literally only like a pixel on the screen where you can stay to be safe, you're playing a rhythm game at that point in time. You're not playing a shmup anymore. But yeah, shmups are like, that is a game I would definitely like bust out and play if I get the Sega Master System Mini.
You mean the Sega Genesis Mini?
That's what I said.
All right. I don't know why you keep saying Master System. That's they're not making a mini of that.
They should make a Master System Mini, don't you think? I mean, there's all those good games, right? Like Kid Cool.
There actually are a lot of good games on Master System. Like I said, when you go online, you look at there's at least like 20 games that are really good. You're right, they couldn't make one. There's a few good games on there.
They will make one. Who's getting who?
Maybe
they're gonna make one.
Now here this is an interesting one, Ed. We have Virtua Fighter 2. Here's the problem with Virtua Fighter. Virtua Fighter does not play well on Sega Genesis. The fact that Virtua Fighter 1 came out on Sega Saturn and had so many problems they had to re-release it, right, on Sega Saturn, and it was on 32X. Virtua Fighter 2 on Sega Genesis, I'm not looking forward to that at all. That's going to be a skip for me.
I don't understand why they're doing that. I mean, like you said, there are games on here that definitely deserve the spot instead of Virtua Fighter 2.
Way more. But
like, this is
Virtua Fighter 2, I think they wanted to get it on there because it was a big game for Sega. It was like a legendary game for Sega. But it just, not this version, man. Not this version.
Yeah, this is not a good choice on them. And I'm not going to harp on it too much, but there are way better. I mean, there's even like bizarre games that you could put on there. Like, what's the fucking, what was the game where you could, what?
Ooze.
I was thinking of the one where you played as the you were the poltergeist and you took over the different objects in the house and you scared the shit.
I never played that, but that sounds awesome. Whatever that is.
Oh, it's a really fun game. You were a kid that got killed by like this family that moved in, so you're haunting them. And yes, this is a Sega game where you are a poltergeist that was killed and you have to scare the family. It's called, I'm looking it up, The Haunting, starring Poltergeist.
I never played that game in my life.
It is an isometric style game where you control, your main cool character, and you take over like these different objects. And so it's almost like The Sims, like the other characters are walking through the house almost randomly. I'm sure it's not. The system probably didn't have the technology to be completely random, but they walked through the house seemingly random. And when they went into a room, you'd follow them in there, and you'd take over these different things. So like you'd make this giant hell pit appear in the living room, and they'd get scared and they'd run out of the room, and the objective was to scare them out of the house. You had to scare them so much they left the house, but every time you did something, it used some of your eco, like your ectoplasm, and if you lost all of it, then you kind of went to the underworld, and then became like a isometric platformer. Then you had to get through that to rebuild your ecometer, and then you're back in the house. The only time you could die is in the underworld. In the house, you could never actually die. You're basically in the house.
I get it.
Different style game, but at least I'd take that over. At least that's something I don't think General Chaos is on this list either. That'd be a great game for this.
Yeah, actually, there's a few. Now, Alicia Dragoon, I never played it, so I have no comments on it. Monster World 4, I also never played. But apparently it got re-released on a bunch of other systems as well. It was a platformer, like a Metroidvania platformer, but I've never, ever played this game. But I guess part of the Wonder Boy series, and I do know about the Wonder Boy series. There's a bunch of them on different systems, including SNES and... Well, actually, no, not SNES. I'm being dumb. Master System, arcade, but I never played this one, though. I never played Monster World.
I've never played this one either, but it does kind of look cool. Like looking at the pictures of it.
Well, that's the good thing about this.
Ed,
that's the good thing is we can try out a bunch of new games we missed when we were kids.
That's true. I mean, actually, can I pick the next one we talk about?
Cape Chameleon's the next one, isn't it?
Oh, I wasn't going down the list. Because it was kind of a segue.
Okay, go for it.
You never got to play as a kid. The Eternal Champions was a game I always wanted to play as a kid.
Right.
Saw that in all the magazines. I read like all the bios. Like it's these fighters that died. They get another chance that they all fight each other. Like the one was like this detective, and he had to deliver a package, and it turned out that it was a bomb. He tried throwing himself out the window, but he didn't make it in time, and he died in the explosion. And then years later, I got to play the game. Not a great game.
It's like, not the best. We had fun with it. We had fun with it back then because there was a couple of things the game did that were pretty unique. You could actually like have different weapons, and one thing I loved about the game was it was obviously a Mortal Kombat like clone because that was the big deal at the time.
Oh, lots of fatalities.
Yeah, they have fatalities, but this one had special stage fatalities. They were called overkills in the game. So like if you knock an opponent under a certain area in the game, like in the actual stage, they can die a certain way. Like they go into a grinder. I always thought that was a really good idea. This is one of those games
so over the top.
That's what I'm saying. This is one of those games where, with a little bit of polish, it could have been a really good game.
Exactly. It needed polish, but It was. I mean, they did go over the top with it.
It's nostalgic as fuck,
the clown car lands on it.
It's very nostalgic. People who are Sega fans swear by this game. It really does not hold up, but I can't say I hate the game, right? It's not a terrible...
I don't hate it. I mean, I go back to it, though, because I want it to be good. I want this to be so good. I mean, even, like I said, I went to MagFest last year, and they had it playing, and I had to play it for a while, and it's like, this just isn't that good. I want this to be good, though, damn it.
Right? No, it's one of those things where you remember it being better than it actually was. Because at the time...
I want a re-release of this. Like, think about... I mean, Mortal Kombat was choppy as shit back in the day.
Yes.
And now the game's smooth as
especially on Sega. It was really bad on Genesis.
And Killer Instinct was always smooth. But Killer Instinct, the new version, is smooth as silk. So, come on, people, get on this. These are some cool characters in here.
No, Eternal Champions was... It just sucks because, like, I don't hate the game. I think it's a little bit difficult to play, but it's you know, some great gore effects too. I mean, there's a lot of good things about this game, man. Like, again, I'm with you. I don't love it, but it was one of the only exclusive fighters on Genesis. There was a few other ones that came out later, like Cosmic Carnage, and nobody cares about those. But this one to me was, you know, it could have been better. It was choppy, but I don't think it was terrible. So.
Oh, I mean. It's creative, though. Like you said, it is definitely creative, and it's fun. Some of the stuff is over the top fun.
Yeah.
I mean, listeners, go out there, look up a video of Eternal Champions overkills. Just sit down and watch for 10 minutes of like all these how over the top. I mean, the one is that you're fighting in front of a movie theater, and if you knock the person out in the right spot, their fatality, we'll just call it a fatality because that's what it is. The woman that was selling the ticket jumps out of the booth with a Tommy gun and just unloads on the guy on the ground for no fucking reason. Like, she's just a background character. But, like, why does she have a Tommy gun?
Remember the Granny in Turtles had a Tommy gun, too.
Yes.
Same idea.
In this case, they actually do waste them.
Yeah, wasted. So, Kid Chameleon, this is one of the OG Genesis classics. I mean, everybody knows about this game. What more can really be said about it? He was like one of the original Sega mascots that just never got used again.
Yeah, I mean, I think they tried making him a mascot in the beginning, but
they did.
I don't. This blue guy took over. I don't know.
We'll get to him later. So Road Rash 2, I like Road Rash. Tiny bit overrated. I might get some shit for this, but I never thought Road Rash was like a classic game, even though it's a cult classic. I don't know. I was never too big into it, but I'm happy it's on here.
No, it's a good fit for it. It belongs there.
Columns, puzzle game. Might as well throw it on there.
Yeah, Columns isn't a bad game. I think I'd rather play a Mean Bean Machine on, but not a bad game.
I've actually never played Robotics Mean Bean Machine, so it is good then.
I have played Mean Bean Machine, but I have played Puyo Puyo more, which is basically the same game.
Now, what do you think about Dynamite Heady? Developed by Gunstar Heroes Company. It's a fun little platform game. Don't remember it getting that much love back in the day. I guess it did over time. Do you have any memories of Dynamite Heady?
Not at the time. I mean, I've gone ahead and played it since then because that's one of those games where it's always on those underrated, like, classics.
Right.
So I have gone back and played. It's a fun game. I've never beaten it. I've never gone far enough to beat it, but it is a solid game. And if I have the system, I probably would.
Now,
play through it.
What about Light Crusader, which is actually very similar to Landstalker? Have you ever played that one?
I have not played that one.
It's very similar to Landstalker and Dynamite Heady. See, Treasure is the name of the company. They also made a game. They also made Gunstar Heroes. Like, they've made a lot of really good games, and a lot of them were on Sega. So they're gonna put them on there. Maybe Sega bought them out or something. I don't really know.
I'll have to check out Light Crusader. It really is like Landstalkers, huh? Like,
that's
it's
what
isometric, or is it just...
I never played it before. I never played it. I just read up on it. Now, Mega Man The Wily Wars, we talked about this a long time ago in the old podcast. The game has a problem with the non-PAL version. The NTSC version has like a weird lag. But apparently, if you get the European PAL version, that's gone. The game actually plays correctly. So I'm wondering if they're going to put that version on here. I certainly hope so.
I hope so. I hope they picked the better version because it's not a bad game, but with the lag and you can't have as many Mega Buster bullets on the screen at the right time at the same time, it's good. But since I am a very big Mega Man fan, it feels off because of that.
Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition. Now, this is interesting because...
Oh, I've never heard of that game.
Right?
Is that any good?
I don't know, but it's basically Street Fighter 2 Turbo is what it is. But one thing that always bugged me about this game on the Sega Genesis was the colors were weird. There was like a weird green tint in this game. And also, you can't really play this game with the Genesis controller. You have to have the 6-button controller. The 3-button one just does not work because Street Fighter is a 6-button game. Well, I'm guessing it's going to have a 6-button controller. I'm guessing the color's going to be fixed, but I really don't know. But I can say that Street Fighter 2...
fix the colors. I'm going to be honest on that one. I think that might be a hardware issue.
If that's the case,
might be what it is.
If that's the case, it's no good to me because it's... Look, let's be real. Street Fighter 2 Turbo on Super Nintendo is one of the best arcade ports of all time, point blank, as far as 16-bit goes.
They nailed it.
They nailed it. So I feel like this game... The only reason it even exists is because it's a game on Sega. Like, it's a Sega Genesis game. Like, that's... And if you're a Sega Genesis fan, instead of having to buy a Super Nintendo to play this game at home, you had it on Sega. That's great. But it's just not as good as the SNES counterpart. Not even close.
Now, that's one of the ones where Nintendo won on that one.
Easily.
That does suggest, though, they should have picked the one where Sega won. Why is Mortal Kombat not on here?
It has to be something with the licensing. It has to be something with licensing. That's the only thing that makes sense.
Now, it is. Because I would have left like that. You had to put the blood code in. Like I would have left it like exactly as is.
I agree. I would have. Yeah, all that stuff, or the Dullard code. Now, what do you think about Alex Kidd and the Enchanted Castle?
I have to admit, I've never played that one.
I never played it either. Actually,
I've never played the Alex Kidd games.
I missed that one. Yeah, I heard they were not that good.
Another mascot before the blue guy.
Another, yeah, right. Now, Golden Axe. We did a whole podcast about Golden Axe, and it's surprising because only Golden Axe 1 is on here. Where's Golden Axe 2 and Golden Axe 3? And they're all good.
Agreed. Like, why are they not all on there? Like, how much room could they possibly take up? I mean, they're fun games. They're some of the best, like, just side-scrolling beat-em-up games. I mean, there is a better side-scrolling beat-em-up game that we'll get to on here.
Well, we'll talk about it right now. Streets of Rage 2.
Streets of Rage 2 is a better fighting beat-em-up game.
It is better,
Golden Axe is classic. Like, they should all be on there.
Are you surprised that Streets of Rage 2 is on there and not 3 or 1?
I think people do argue that 2 was the better of the 3.
I would agree.
As well. I like both of them. I don't know why. Again, that's the one thing that they're missing, though. Like, I don't think you have to choose. I think you have the space that you could put the multiple Golden Axes on and the multiple Streets of Rage on because they made the system. Like, that was the thing. That was one of the things that, like, Nintendo fans were envious of. Like, these are games Nintendo fans, I can speak from experience, like reading the magazines and looking on the aisles and having friends that have it. These are the games I wanted to play.
Yeah. I mean, dude, we had Double Dragon on SNES or NES, and Sega had, Streets of Rage. It was like their
Streets of Rage is a better game.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Dragon, but Streets of Rage is a better game.
Now, we also, speaking of Nintendo, Beyond Oasis, which is basically their version of Zelda, really like this game. Really like it.
I'm going to have to play that one. Is that good?
It's good. It's a Zelda clone, basically.
I'm okay with
it's similar. It's similar to Zelda. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Phantasy Star 4, End of the Millennium, RPG, good stuff. I can never say anything bad about Phantasy Star. The fact that the series is still going on. That series is still going on to this day, Phantasy Star. It's just classic RPG. I mean, we need a game like this on Sega, and it's on here. Thank God.
Yeah, it should be on there. Like, there's no reason for it not to be. I mean, people, like I said, Nintendo had better RPGs. I'm sorry.
Yes, Super Nintendo was amazing with RPGs.
But do not give the devil his due. Genesis had some good RPGs, and it's nice to see that they are, like, represented.
No, especially this one. Like, you have to put this one on there. It's just, there's a few other ones too, but this is one you had to put on there. Now, let's talk about Sonic. So they chose to include Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Sonic Spinball. Now, I love Sonic Spinball and I love Sonic 2. We can't even say anything bad about those games. But I still feel like because the Sega Genesis Mini... Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. Sonic 1 is on here. Sonic 1 is
on here, yeah.
So 1, 2, and Spinball. I'm sorry, but Sonic 3 is the best Sonic game. Sonic and Knuckles with Sonic 3 locked on is like the best Sonic game of all time, in my opinion, and always has been to me. And I like Sonic 2 a lot. Why is that not on here, man? I don't understand. I don't get it.
I have no idea on that one. The only thing I can guess, and again, this is just a guess. I don't need people like, oh, actually, I don't need any will actuallys on this because this is just me barking in the wind.
Right.
I wonder if it's a hardware limitation. Like, it's hard to edit the ROM to have the knuckle stuff in it.
But Ed, there's ROMs you can download that have the knuckle stuff in it. You know what I mean?
No, it wouldn't be the first time that somebody stole a ROM and put it on their console. Nintendo.
What?
You ever hear about that? That Nintendo took Nintendo. They took the Mario Brothers ROM and stuck it and sold it to you.
Yes.
You know, they're screaming out piracy, but they stole the ROM.
Actually, you're the one who told me that. You're the one who told me that story.
I did tell you that story. We were talking about that not that long ago. So I mean, they could do it that way. I honestly no. I don't know why they can't put Sonic 3 on there. There's no reason why they can't put Knuckles in there. I mean, guys, come on. I mean, I know piracy is bad. Don't do that. Emulation is evil. But we've all done it. I've seen what the size of these files are.
They're tiny.
Nothing to put these on them. It is not a space issue.
How do you feel about Vector Man? I actually still have physical copies of Vector Man 1 and 2. I am so happy that Vector Man's going to be on this thing. I'm
Vector Man should be on there, but I was never a huge fan.
I liked it. I loved it. I thought it was a really inventive game, really creative game. I always like Vector Man. But you know what's conspicuous by its absence? Ed, where is Rocket Knight Adventures?
That's a good question. I was thinking Bob.
Bob?
Yeah, wasn't that the game where it was a robot and you won like $10,000 if you could beat it or something like that?
I'm not surprised that's not on there. I'm not surprised.
That's a terrible game. I'm just being an asshole.
Now,
I don't know where Rocket is. Like, that was another mascot that they tried.
And it didn't work out. Now, Wonder Boy, that's a good game. I am down for that. Now, but yeah, Vector Man's on here. And what about, what was it, Starman? Is that the name of the game? What was the name of the Star guy? Oh my god, you know who I'm talking about. The Genesis... Huh?
Not Starfy.
Was that his name?
Well, there is a Star character called Starfy.
Let me look it up here. Starfy? No, dude.
Starfy.
Let me see if this is it. No.
Okay, that's a different game. Okay.
How could I forget? Someone's screaming at us right now, I'm sure, on their podcast.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god. All right, D, to make them happy, I will ask you, D, did I ever tell you the joke about the broken pencil?
No, you didn't. Oh, boy.
I won't.
Rystar!
You blew the punchline, D.
Oh, wait, I did?
That's okay, because it's pointless.
Damn it. Fuck.
Damn it. Go on.
I'm sorry. But yeah, why is Rystar not on here?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of games that are... Again, it could be a rights thing. That one could be... obviously Sonic 3 is not a rights thing.
I thought Rystar was owned by Sega.
I could not...
Yeah, it is. It's Sega. No, that's definitely Sega.
Then there's no reason then.
I don't understand. That's a great game. I
think, honestly, they're holding some of this stuff back because they want to release a new system in the future. But, truthfully, I don't know the reason on some of these, why they don't put more in there. I guess they don't have to.
I don't know.
Maybe it's a case of why do more? Like, why do we have to do more if people are going to buy it anyway? But yeah, I'm on your side. Look, and again, it's not space. I mean, again, full disclosure. I have a Raspberry Pi inside a Ghosts and Goblins NES cartridge. And it plays everything. I've got the entire thing loaded with any library game you want. So space is not an issue. This whole fucking thing fits inside a Nintendo cartridge.
It's like 10,000 games even, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this is I've showed you that, haven't I?
You haven't showed it until you told me about it, but you never showed it to me.
I gotta take a picture of it. It's really cool. I got it on eBay, and it's got an HDMI cable coming out of it. It's got multiple ports for the thing, and it's just a little computer inside just an NES cartridge.
I've seen them. I've seen them on YouTube.
They're really cool, and they play very well. And seriously, if you can put that in there, then they have all the space they need for these games. But again, I think part of it is, I mean, forget what show I listened to. They once said, why did Pokemon Go not do more stuff? Well, because they made hundreds of millions of dollars by just doing this. They don't need to do more.
Remember, it's not just good, it's good enough.
Yeah, it's not just good, it's good enough.
That's going to be the theme of this show. Now, Earthworm Jim.
Ain't that the truth?
Right. Earthworm... I see what you did there. Earthworm Jim is a game that a lot of people think is a Genesis exclusive, but it's not. There was a Super Nintendo version. Super Nintendo version had better graphics and was like it tended to have. It was smoother, but it was missing one of the levels. from the Sega game. I am glad that this is on this mini because Earthworm Jim is the game that has a lot of nostalgia.
Yeah, Earthworm Jim was huge back then. I mean, you remember it had a cartoon? You remember that?
It did. I do remember that.
And Castellaneta was the voice of the worm. He sounds, when you go back and listen, it's like, oh, that does sound a lot like Homer, doesn't it?
I mean, it's and they made sequels too, but nobody ever talks about those.
Yeah, the second one's obviously really good, but the 3D game was not good. He did not translate over to 3D well at all. But yeah, Earthworm Jim is a tough as balls game, but you have to love its wacky style. It was it's wacky. There's a level where you have to bounce puppies off marshmallows, and if you drop one, your sidekick turns into a monster and beats the shit out of you.
Hell yeah!
I mean, the game is wacky as shit. I mean, for fans that don't know, the whole premise is that a giant alien suit falls from outer space, lands on top of an earthworm, and then somehow that turns the earthworm into an anthropomorphic superhero.
He's pretty much like the older version of Forky. Have you seen Toy Story 4?
I have not seen that yet. I will be taking my students to see that next week.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
No spoilers. But
no, I'm not going to spoil it.
I hear it's awesome.
But it's good, trust me. And yeah, before anybody, yes, 3 was a better ending, but 4 has a really good ending too. And it's a very emotional, very good movie. You can't really make a bad Toy Story movie. They haven't done it yet. So
yeah. Pixar's got a pretty good record. I trust them.
They've got a great record. Now, Thunder Force 3 is basically like Darius. There's not much to say about that. Slash-scrolling shooter. How do you feel about Contra Hardcore? I've actually never played this Contra game in my life, and I always wanted to.
I've heard it's pretty good. I mean, I've honestly never played that either because, I mean, let's be honest. I was a Nintendo kid, and when I got a chance to borrow the Sega Genesis, I wouldn't play Contra. That wasn't going to be the game I jumped at because I already had Contra. That might have been short-sighted at the time, but that's just how it was. I mean, I'm not going to pick something from another library.
Right. I mean, I actually never played it, and I kind of need to. Now, how do you feel about Castle of Illusion and World of Illusion? I didn't even know the second one even existed. The Mickey Mouse games. I'm actually surprised that Mickey Mania is not on here, actually. But do you have any memories of the two Illusion games?
I have played them, like, when I got older, and they are solid platformers for sure. They are fun games.
It's actually available in the App Store, too, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that. But, actually, you know what? Let's rewind a little bit. We said, how come Aladdin's not on here? And I said it's probably a rights thing. But here's Mickey, so it's not a rights thing.
I know. It's Disney's mascot.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like, if fucking Mickey can be on here, Aladdin can... Unless it's a Capcom thing. I mean, are there any... No, Capcom Street Fighter. So, no. Yes. I mean, no, it's not a Capcom thing. It's not a Disney thing. I have no explanation why...
It's a
to
Sega
go back,
thing.
I cannot explain why Aladdin's not on here.
Because let's be real, even though Castle of Illusion, I never played the second one, but Castle of Illusion was fun. Aladdin was Aladdin one of the best Sega games, probably top 20 Sega games, Genesis games, I think.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just nostalgia classics, probably talking, but I like the
maybe
the Super Nintendo version better.
Maybe it has to do with Will Smith. I don't know. Let's blame him.
Let's blame Will. Let's say Mo.
So wait, you like the Super Nintendo version better? See, I don't. I think you and I argued about this before.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying you're wrong, but they were very different games.
Oh, they're totally different. I mean, it's totally apples to apples. I mean, apples to oranges. I mean, it's completely different.
And you actually collect apples in those games. What a twist!
You do. You get to throw apples, where you get to use a sword. It is cooler to use a sword.
You want more of your precious apples? Don't worry, you'll get plenty of apples. No more apples in the vending machine,
take your apples away.
You don't have to sue me to get my pants off. That's a classic, bro.
That is a classic one.
So, what were you saying?
I was just saying I like the platforming better in this Super Nintendo version. They're both great games. I mean, but that's what I was talking about. Like, back at the beginning, the console wars, they're totally different games, but they're both great games. Like, they're both really good games.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Now, Super Fantasy Zone. I've heard of this game. I've seen what it looks like. Never played it, but it really reminds me a lot of Kirby. It's like a mix of like Kirby, Earthbound, and like Little Nemo the Dream Master. You know what I'm saying? For some reason, the way the game looks reminds me of that. I never played the game though, but I guess it's another one of those shooting games.
Now, is that fantasy? Is that based off Phantasy Star?
I don't think so. No, it's just called Super Fantasy Zone. Totally different game.
Oh, okay. Totally different game. Because I was
never
thinking
played it.
First, that's a shooter. too. But yeah, no, I don't know that one. That one, I'm afraid I never played.
Never played it, but I'm sure it's probably good. Now, here's a game I did play and I liked. Shinobi 3. That's a good game.
Oh, that's a good game.
That's one of the best Sega games ever.
I mean, I have a soft spot for the Shinobi series because in my local arcade growing up, we had a Shinobi machine, and I love the first-person aspect when you used the bonus round.
Mm-hmm.
That was just, I mean, as stupid as it is, you're throwing, like, it's just a shooting gallery that you're throwing ninja stars at fucking ninjas that are coming towards the screen. But when you were, like, 6,
it was awesome.
Like, that was the shit. So, yeah, when I got a chance to, when I borrowed the Genesis, the Shinobi games were games I rented and played.
Shinobi 3 was amazing, and I mean it's one of those things where, like, again, you know, Super Nintendo had or not Super Nintendo, Nintendo had Ninja Gaiden. We've got Shinobi. Okay.
I am actually kind of sad that, again, all 3 games aren't on there. For historical sake, it would have been cool to have the evolution of the 3 games.
Agreed. I never played 1 and 2. I only played 3, but I would agree with you. Now, you said you want to talk about Landstalker.
Landstalker, just historically speaking, for me personally, like Mr. Eddie's personal history, that was the first Sega Genesis game I ever beat. Because, yeah, that was, my friend Matt had the Genesis, I had Nintendo. He borrowed it, I think he played either Legend of Zelda or Earthbound or one of them. And he said, well, you like Legend of Zelda, you should take this game, Landstalker. And I just got completely absorbed in the game, and I played through the entire game and beat it. And it is a really fun, it's basically Zelda, except you can jump.
It's got that weird isometric kind of Mario RPG camera angle.
That is
which Breath of Fire kind of did too.
Yeah, and because it is an action RPG and you're swinging the sword like Zelda, that can sometimes be a pain in the ass.
Right.
But the story is fun. The graphics are really good. It is just a really fun game. I mean, I hope when I go back and play it, it holds up. But it has a soft spot in my heart for sure. Like, this was just a game that grabbed me. And there was, like, many warm summer nights where the air conditioner was blowing, and I was playing this game because I had to beat this so I could return it and get Nintendo back. But, you know, this game had to be finished first. Like, you know, you had to see it to the end.
All I heard was summer nights and blowing, Ed. What are you thinking about right now, bro? What's in your head right now?
I don't know, but I should crack open another sliding into the DMs. I don't know.
You should, bro. This is, especially with what you just said there. Yeah, this is a family show, Ed. Family show. So
really? After all the shit we said?
No, it's fine. Yeah, fuck. This is the Geekdom101 podcast. This is almost as bad as Super Friends was back in the day. My show, not the TV show. Echo the Dolphin.
Way better than the TV show.
Way better. Echo the Dolphin. We've talked about this game.
I love Echo the Dolphin.
We did a review for it, yeah, and this game kept me up nights. It's
like,
we don't get games like this anymore, bro. Yeah, we don't really get games quite like this anymore. Talk about Echo the Dolphin.
I mean, Echo the Dolphin is a fun, I don't know what genre is it?
I don't even know. You go around playing as a dolphin, and what happens is your family gets sucked up into the sky mysteriously in the beginning of the game, and you have no idea why. So you go on this insane journey where it's like an epic, it's literally one of the most epic stories ever. You go to the South Pole, you go back in time, you fight giant seahorses, which are really scary. You fight prehistoric sharks, and you know, and then you eventually find out what's really going on, which I don't want to spoil. And it's you had to be on something to create this game.
Batshit crazy for the first level where you're swimming around the ocean. It's just a game where you're a dolphin in the ocean. It's like a dolphin simulator. And where it finally fucking ends up, you're kind of like, how the fuck did we end up here?
And the game has a really creepy vibe to it because it has that sort of very subtle soundtrack, a very creepy soundtrack. You're underwater, you're alone, you have to breathe air because you're a mammal. So you have to go and get stuff, and then you go and meet the Big Blue and the Vortex and all that stuff. Again, I'm not going to spoil it, but yeah, you go back in time to like ancient civilizations that are what a trippy game. Like that game gives me weird vibes to this day, Ed, because obviously when you're underwater, you've got this like this fear of drowning that we all kind of have as human beings. But did you know that the whole story of this game is, and this won't surprise you, apparently the guy who created this game was on drugs, which that should not surprise you at all. And yeah, and it all led to like this whole game. Like he kept thinking about it. Like, that's crazy. Or not the guy. I'm sorry, not the guy who created the game. The guy who created the game read a book about this guy who was on drugs, and that's where it all came from. So about these. Oh, what a trip, bro. But yeah, the game has a really weird, unique vibe to it. There's no other game like Ego the Dolphin, bro. I've not found a game that's like it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love a game that starts off going one way and ends up another. I mean, I love anything that takes a hard left turn. I mean, we could do a whole podcast on media that takes a hard left turn and just leaves you like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the Adult Swim stuff that happens, like, after 3 a.m, like, there's a couple of hoes that, like,
oh, God.
What the fuck? Where did that go? Like, I mean, this house has people in it, unedited footage of a bear. I mean, we're Cabin in the Woods if you wanted something more mainstream. I love media that starts going one way, and then before you know it, what the fuck? How are we here?
Have you seen Midsommar yet?
I have not seen Midsommar. It gives me a Wicker Man feeling.
It is like the Wicker Man. But it's really, bro. This guy pushed the R rating, and this is not a movie you want to take your kids to, or the kids that you in your class that you teach or whatever.
Shit. That's what we're going to see next week.
Okay,
Shit.
well they're gonna have quite an experience because not only is there sex in the movie, but they show dick, which I'm shocked they were actually able to get away with that. There are very disgusting mutilations in the film. It's basically shock horror. And that's one problem that I had with it is that I felt like Hereditary, which was the guy's previous film, was really a great freaking movie. Shock horror done right, I think, because it had a good narrative. Midsommar, though, was whatever.
I'm kind of disappointed. I kind of looked more cerebral than shock horror.
No. No, it is more cerebral. I don't want to spoil it. There's a lot of things going on.
Spoil.
But I feel like with Hereditary, you had a better narrative. With Midsommar, I think he was trying too hard to like shock you with graphic imagery because the movie's very graphic. Like I am shocked they got that R rating, bro. It's one of those movies that I'm telling you, bro, they show a lot.
All right, I mean that's something I'll have to check out because I do like a cerebral horror, and I especially like a horror that takes place in the daylight.
It is in the daylight. Well, most of it is, yeah.
That's okay. I mean, but I mean anything that doesn't rely on traditional shit is.
The only problem is it's really slow. It's really slow. It takes a while to build up, which
That's
I'm
okay.
normally okay with, but literally halfway through the movies when shit actually gets interesting, it's like okay, all right.
Again, I'm okay with that because I do find a little bit too much. I think things go a little bit too fast today. I mean, you want to hear something sad? I'm going to depress everyone here.
Oh,
I showed Star Wars to my class. And for people who don't know, I teach.
I'm scared to hear what you're going to say.
I mean, I teach. They at the time they were about like 5 to 7 year olds, and it was for May 4th. May the 4th be with you. It wasn't this year. It was like 2 years ago. So it's not this class if you're listening. My class was bored. They could not get past like 40 minutes into the movie. It was too slow for them.
Kill them all.
Like, that's because all these fucking movies start at a 10 and just, it starts at like a 7 and just stays at a 7 the whole way through. There's no build up. And because Star Wars starts off strong and then goes into character development for a while, the kids didn't know what to do.
There's nothing boring about Star Wars at all. I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand.
I think it's to do with the way movies are done nowadays. I mean, look. We'll go off on a tangent because this is, hey, welcome to Pixels and Bits, folks. This is what we do.
Essentially, even though that's not really what this is, but it's all good.
I know.
Fuck it.
We're doing, this summer, I'm taking my kids on these trips. Every Monday they're doing, like, these dollar matinee shows. So, I mean, it's only $1 a kid. Like, how could we say no? So we're going to every single movie. They're older movies. Like,
I wouldn't go to this one, though. I wouldn't go to Midsommar.
Lego Movie. Oh, no, I wouldn't go to this one. No, they're all kids' movies. But it's like Lego Movie 1, Kung Fu Panda, the first one, Despicable Me 3, which is But we took them to see Smallfoot. No, Smallfoot. Yeah, Smallfoot. Littlefoot's the dinosaur movie. Smallfoot. It's a movie you've probably forgotten even existed.
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
It was a movie about a village full of Yetis. And they come across like a human. And
I think I remember now.
It's sort of ringing a bell, huh?
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody forgot about this fucking movie. It's not a bad movie. Like, I'm not going to do a whole review on it. It's actually, I was expecting this was going to be painful. It was not painful. The songs were except for one song, Let It Lie, happens to be a really, really good song. It was an okay movie. It was fine for what it was. But it was a perfect example of, the movie kind of started like right here with a big peppy song, and it kind of kept that same tone for most of the movie, and there was not much quiet low periods. And because of that, I felt there was not enough character development for an adult. Like, it was okay for a kid's movie, but, again, good movie. Not a great movie, good movie. It was not Pixar or anything. And I feel like that's the problem with media today for kids and a lot of stuff. Like, Pixar doesn't give a shit. they'll take their time with their shit. They don't give a shit. But it's a generation now, and again, I'm not doing like, oh, millennials, I hate that shit. But it does seem like attention spans are different now. Like Star Wars was dull to them. They could not handle the 20 minutes of emotional buildup to Luke Skywalker. It's like, no, where are the lightsabers now? How come Darth Vader's here? And it's like, well, because they're trying to get you to care about Luke Skywalker. Oh. But you know what? On the flip side, when you can get them to sit for it, it leaves such an emotional impact. Because I showed them just one of my favorite movies, which, again, you don't have to love it. I really enjoy Darby O'Gill and the Little People, a classic Disney movie that has, what's his face in it? Name will come to me later. Sean Connery. Sean Connery sings in it. It's a simple story about leprechauns. It's a live action thing. It's a simple enough movie. But because these kids sat through it, because they were tired, and by the end of the movie, when, because it's a slow movie at points, but because they were invested in the movie, these kids were literally at the edge of their seat. The one kid had like her hand over her mouth. The other one was like leaning forward.
That's great.
Because, look, when you take your time and build up characters, oh shit, you cared about them now.
Mm-hmm. It's done right. With Midsummer, though, I feel like it just didn't captivate me as much as Hereditary did, but it does have a lot of very interesting subtext. I think he tried too hard. Now, back to the list here, okay?
We're talking about video games, aren't we?
Yeah, we're talking about games. So,
Palooza?
You cut out a lot. What'd you say?
Shit, I fucked up the joke. I said, did I tell you about Turtles Rescue Palooza?
You're drunk. All right. Space Harrier 2, one of the best games on Sega Genesis. Easily.
It is a good game.
That's one of the best games in the whole system. Like the freaking weird ass like third person mode and like the way things are coming. Oh, I love that game, dude. It's an arcade game, I believe. I never played the arcade version though.
Space Harrier is an arcade game, and it had a really cool joystick that you used.
Yes, I like this game a lot. And again, another series that never really made a comeback. We never saw. At least I never heard of it making a comeback. The Space Harrier 2 was the last one, I think. Right. No, there was one called Planet Harriers, but that was I never played it.
Yeah, I mean, here, guys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm going to make you $1 million. Right now, I guess it's kind of dying now, but for a while, like VR was like the huge thing. Space Harrier, VR.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome.
It works.
Do it.
It works. Now, Shining Force, another game that you could make an argument could be the best, well, maybe not the best, but one of the best games on the entire Genesis. I mean, I don't even know what the best game is. I love Shining Force. Shining Force is an RPG where you can customize, like, the characters, but you can also customize, like, how you level up, whether you want to be strategic or just grinding. So you can play the game two different ways. And then when you get into combat, it has this cool little, like, this awesome, like, you're behind your hero and the enemy's on the left. I really, really like Shining Force. That might be, that might be one of the best RPGs on this, probably the best one on the Sega Genesis, I would say. It's tough to really say. It's really, really good. There was a remake on Game Boy Advance, but I never played it.
I have played it, but I've never beaten it, and you're right. It is definitely a really good RPG, and it deserves to be on there, because, again, we were talking before how Genesis gets like a reputation of only being a sports system or only being, no, sports was the big one. Sports was the really big one for Genesis. But yeah, I mean, they had really good stuff in all the genres, and this is one of the, if not the best RPG, one of the better ones. So it is really good to see it on there.
Now, how do you feel about Castlevania Bloodlines? Very, very hard game. Very hard.
Ridiculously hard. I've never gotten... Graphics were good, and it's a solid game. It is a very solid game. It is a good Castlevania game.
I never beat it. It's too hard.
Oh, no, it's too fucking hard. You know what? If you want to beat it, go to... if you want to see it beaten Awesome Games Done Quick or Summer Games Done Quick, just watch someone like speed run that shit like 40 minutes. You're like, man, I can't fucking do that.
He's got skills, man. No,
like, I can't do that.
And this is the only Castlevania game on Sega, to my knowledge. I don't think there's any other one, right? That we know of on Genesis?
No, I think Bloodlines is the only one.
And that was the one after Castlevania 4. So, but Castlevania 4 is like the best one. That and Symphony of the Night. So this is right sandwiched in between them.
Yeah, Castlevania is super solid. I would argue that, I mean, it's very hard to compare like Castlevania 4 to Symphony of the Night, though.
Those are the two best ones.
They're so different games, but they really are two of the best ones. And no, Bloodlines is great. It's just like you said, it's like ridiculously hard. But you know what? So is the original Castlevania. So I mean, Castlevania is a notoriously hard series.
Yeah, even 2 is hard. 3 is freaking very hard. 4 is not that hard, but it's the most enjoyable.
Shit.
Now, I never played Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, but you did. So I'm going to have you tell me about this game. I never played this game before.
It's a match and color puzzle game, and if I seem to recall correctly, you have to match them together, and then you eliminate them when you get so many in a row. Like, you try to link them all together, and then you can eliminate them. It is a fun puzzle game. You just have to change your mindset. It's not Tetris, and it's not Dr. Mario. It is Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Or, again, I don't want to sound stupid and get it wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's actually based on a game called Puyo Puyo.
Yes,
I hope I'm not saying that wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's right. And it's a fun game. It's a really fun puzzle game. It's just a different kind of puzzle game. Like, you have to... It's like... I do know people that can't change their mind on a game. Like, oh, I've linked these all together. I like Super Puzzle Fighter. It's like, I've linked them all together, but they haven't exploded yet. Yeah, that's because that's not how this game is played.
I like the way that game is. But I like the way that game is, though. Yeah.
Exactly. But I do
like Yoshi's Cookie. Yoshi's Cookie is
exactly.
Yeah.
Yoshi Cookie is a completely different kind of puzzle game. As long as you can wrap your head around how the game mechanics work, it's a really satisfying, really fun puzzle game.
You just got to figure it out. So, what was I going to say?
Almost like a puzzle.
Like a puzzle, yeah. Now, Toe Jam and Earl, again, these guys were some of the OG Sega mascots before Sonic took over. Mm-hmm.
I mean, these guys were on lunchboxes. Like, I don't think, let's be honest. I'm sure, like, Alex Kidd was on a lunchbox, but these guys were popular. Toe Jam and Earl, I remember.
They really tried. Did they have an animated series? I feel like if they did, the game would have been more successful.
I feel like they must have, but I don't remember. It feels like it'd be a waste if they didn't. But, yeah, Toe Jam and Earl is one of those games as a Nintendo kid that, oh, shit, that I want to play. That looks awesome.
It's so wacky and so unique and so creative. I mean, again, another series that just never came back, and I kind of wish it would. I wish they would do with this like they would Mega Man 11 and Sonic 4, which wasn't that good, but still, like, make a modern version of this. I think it could work. I know it's on the Virtual Console.
Yep. Yeah, you could definitely make this work.
Now, last game we have here, because we talked about every other game, is Gunstar Heroes. What do you think about Gunstar Heroes?
Gunstar Heroes is a classic. That is a really fun game.
I think we reviewed it. Did we review this game on Pixel and Bits? I
don't remember. Asking, remember what I did last week.
You're right. I'm in the same boat.
Real concern. No, seriously. It's a real concern. What are we laughing about?
TV has ruined my brain. So, Gunstar Heroes. I mean, that's another, like, classic Sega exclusive, as far as I know. Even though I think it did come out on Game Boy Advance, it was a sequel to it years later. But this game,
Game Boy Advance.
And the thing about Gunstar Heroes is, it's one of the best looking Genesis games ever. It's got some beautiful colors. I mean, they really made, like, the boss fights are great. The character looks amazing. I love Gunstar Heroes, man. They did a good job with this. Again, we talked about it. They're missing some things. They are, that I think should be there. But they did a really good job with this collection. I'm actually impressed. For $80, I think it's worth it, man. But you know what's interesting? The Japanese lineup is different. So we're going to have the Japanese lineup and then the Asian lineup and then the US lineup. They're actually not the same. For example, the Japanese lineup has Snow Bros, which is not in our version. They have Slap Fight, which is not what you think it is. They have
I really wanted it to be what I thought it was.
Yeah, I know, right? Too bad. Also, Super Shinobi is on that one.
Oh, that's not a bad one.
Yeah.
Super Snow Brothers, I don't remember being a great game, though.
I don't remember being a great game. All I know is that your computer's now launching you into space right now. So, also, there was a Yu Yu Hakusho game on Mega Drive that also we're not going to get because Japan only. Let me think here. I'm looking at the list right now. I'm trying to see what else we did not get that they're getting. Musha Arresta, no clue what that is. Space Harrier 2, that's fine. Oh, the Comic Zone's there. Sonic 2. I'm just looking. Puyo Puyo Tong, that's what you were talking about earlier. Wrestle Ball Wrestle Ball is the game where it's football players with armor, looking like Mega Man. That's the Japanese lineup, and then the Asian lineup is also slightly different because they have games I've never even heard of before here, like the Philippines and China, and they're getting different stuff altogether.
That's really weird. Like, yeah. I can understand like the I guess Asia is like China, like.
I don't know, Ed. I couldn't tell you. All I know is the box art is freaking amazing.
That's weird.
Some of these games I've never even heard of before. Oh, China versus China's getting Outrun. We're not getting that. Interesting. And they're getting Vampire Killer. Is Vampire Killer the same thing as Castlevania? Is Vampire Killer the same thing as Castlevania Bloodlines?
I think it is.
Okay, then that makes sense.
I think it is, and if it's not, it's similar.
Yeah, let me double check here and make sure. Okay, it's not the same thing. That's a different. Okay, so I knew it. Yes, Vampire Killer is before Castle. So there's two of them on Sega Genesis. Interesting.
Man, I only knew about the one.
Yeah, well, I mean, we never got this one. We never got a Vampire Killer, but there you go. It's part of the series. Sure. Anyways, that's it.
At one point, I would have seen the 10 things you didn't know about Castlevania type bullshit. That I figured I would have picked that up somewhere.
Maybe we just forgot. I don't know. Well, the thing is
I was thinking though. No,
yeah.
do your thing, and then I'll do my thing.
No, I was just gonna say, I hope that the system actually has good emulation, and doesn't end up being crap, because it's got 42 games for $80. That's not bad, man, considering what you get. I can't really tell people not to get it unless the emulation winds up being bad, which we'll know about very soon. Probably a few weeks, we're gonna know if it's any good.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna find out real soon on that. Now, the only thing I was thinking of, and the only thing that hurts this, is Sega's released these collections before.
Sega what? Sorry, you cut out.
Like, I'm sorry. My thing started going weird on me. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I know. Your computer's like you're about to go into space right now, Ed. Deep space, Ed.
I know. Everything just went shit on me. I don't know why. I apologize to the listeners.
No, it's all good.
I'm trying to fix it.
We'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. Keep going.
We're almost done here.
Yeah.
I was thinking, though, that they've released Sega collections before. Like,
and guess what, Ed? They have all the Streets of Rage games on them. All of them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I own it, and it's like 59 games or something like that, and there's a lot of crossover. And I got mine on Steam on sale for like $7.
You know what? You're right.
To have the system,
you're right about that.
But it kind of, I mean, that's the one thing. Whereas with the PlayStation Classics, there's never been a Classic collection. With even though it sucks, but still, there's never been a PlayStation Classic collection that you could just get. With Nintendo, obviously, they're stingy as shit with their stuff. Fuck Nintendo when it comes to that. But
yes,
you're a belligerent drunk. No, I said that the other day. No, I think Nintendo's way too stingy when it comes to their library. I mean, like, they don't charge much for their online system. I mean, I made $20 for the year. Who cares? But I mean, Nintendo's sitting on a huge library of games. They're like, here, you can have Balloon Fight. Enjoy.
Right. No, well, here's the thing, Ed. I agree with you because now that I'm thinking about it more, you could probably get the Sega Genesis collection that was available on PS2 or PS3 and probably get most of these games, if not better ones, and it's just going to be just as good. So you know what? In some ways, I kind of don't know if it's really worth it now. Like, the more I think about it, most of these games are available in other places there, and it's cheaper. Because they're like you said, they're $10, $7, $15, cheaper than $80. My God.
Yeah, they got 30, 60, almost 60 games for $30 on Steam, and that's not even on sale. And they've got Sonic 3 and Knuckles. But they've got Shinobi 3. They've got
you know what, Ed? I kind of agree with you, bro. I think I've changed my mind. I don't think it's worth it. I think getting that is probably a better deal. Sorry.
Virtua Fighter 2 is even one of them. I mean, the only thing you can say is that you have to play Steam on the computer.
Yeah, but Ed, you can always get the collections on PS3 and PS2. I've got one of them. So yeah, I mean, that's the same thing.
That's the only thing I hate it. After we just praised the shit out of it, I kind of feel bad saying.
No, me too.
I
don't
know about this, but $80 for a collection that's already been out.
That's Sega's fault for putting it out so much. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's the truth. And it probably plays better on PS2.
So bad that they put it out there. They should make it better. They should make it the value then. Like, there should be shit on here that you just can't get elsewhere. Look, I mean, say what you want about the Super Nintendo Classic, and I will. I think there should have been more games on it, but at least they gave you Star Fox 2. Yeah, you could emulate that. That's been on the internet for a long time, but if you were, like, the honest person that never touched an emulator, being able to play Star Fox 2 when you never could play it anywhere else, that's kind of a big fucking deal.
I agree. I agree with that. No, it
and
is a big deal.
Where's the Star Fox 2 for this?
I mean, it sucks because the PS Mini had so many potentially good games. They just screwed up the damn emulation. I don't know. You know what? I take it back. It's probably not worth getting because there are better ways to play these games. PS3, PS4, or not PS4, but you could probably play the PS3 on a modern TV, and it's the same thing. So you can. So it's like whatever. It's HDMI. It's gonna play fine. Not that much lag.
I mean, if you want to play it if you want it as a novelty, it's something.
Yeah, and there's probably has a couple exclusive games, but is it really worth it? I don't know. Anyways, that is it. Thanks, Ed, for being here and going down memory lane with me once again.
Oh, it was fun. Thank you for having me.
And I hope you'll be back soon. Maybe sooner than before. Maybe we'll talk about turtles next time. How do we take this turn? I just want to talk about the turtles.
After you play that Rescue Palooza, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it.
If you don't give me dinner, you're a cunt-sucking loser. I remember all those quotes from 10 years ago.
All of those. I can't.
All of them.
I don't think that's family friendly.
I'll watch the goddamn movie to the end if it's a good movie.
I don't even remember what I was yelling about at that point. I love that these quotes are taken out of context, and I'm like, what the fuck was I talking about? I knew I had a point at one point, but I don't remember what it was.
Let me see if you're still on Twitter. Mr. Eddie Quotes. I don't see it anymore.
Oh, yes.
Shit. Yeah, that mystery account. Mr. Eddie Quotes.
Yeah, anyone that doesn't know, some guy took, like, my quotes out of context and just put them up there. And they're some of the wackiest shit you'll ever seen. And it's like, that's hysterical out of context. Like, I'll watch the goddamn movie to the end if it's a good movie. It's like, I had a point at one point, but that point's been lost to time, but that quote is there forever.
And I don't see the account anymore.
I'm pretty sure I think it was, for a while they were doing on TV, it was like, and you want to stick around for the last 5 minutes of the episode. It's like, well, why the fuck wouldn't I? I'm going to stick around for 55 minutes of the episode and then be like, what else is on? Is Wheel of Fortune on?
I found it.
It was a dumb advertising.
Ed, I found it. It's on Twitter still. Mr. Eddie Quotes. At Mr. Eddie Quotes. If you... Here's some of the classics from 2011.
Did that.
Okay, here's some of the classics, all right? Do I hear something in the distance? I'm pretty sure on the back page it has an apology. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
I hear something in the distance.
That's one of your quotes. I don't remember this, Ed. I'm not even done. If you didn't expect that, you're a flaming asshole. Hide the kitty. The Goblin Queen. What was she gobbling? You think Rocket Punch is bad. Like Dr. Claw, only with 2 testicles. Real men have 3. I'm walking to the left and the eyes are following me. I'm walking to the right and the eyes are following me. I'm talking Tina, I don't like you. Then take out the sword and slice her belly. What was that about? Was that about, like, bad toys?
I don't remember. I'm actually more... It was the one before that really got me.
Which one was the one before it?
Like, what the fuck was I talking about? Oh, I mean, the one walking to the left cracked me up, but the one before that one.
The Dr. Claw with 2 testicles?
The Dr. Claw with 2 testicles, real men have 3. What the fuck was I talking about?
At age 3, I turned black. Then at age 4, I turned Irish for a couple of years, and I turned Ed. Whatever that means. These are great. It does glow in the dark if you keep the lights on. That's a good one. No, I reject your reality and substitute my own. I guess I was always a weird kid. I always thought Teddy Drum was too small. You can keep the game, but I'm keeping the fucking marbles. That's from Crossfire. That's from Crossfire. We know that. Because remember my mom threw away the marbles, bro. Remember that story?
Yes, I do remember that. That's where that came from.
It is. You'll fucking break an ankle. We're talking about the what do you call it? The seesaw at the park. It was the 2 rubber balls on top of each other, and in between there was a platform, and you were supposed to jump on it. It is. You'll fucking break an ankle. It got so intense when you were trying to get that piece out. If I ever had an Ed Jr., it's going to be like, there you go. What does that mean?
If I ever had an Ed Jr., it'll be like that. There you go.
Can it be a set of breasts or something? I mean, it doesn't have to be homo. What was the context behind that?
When the hell have I ever used a term like that? That's the best part. Like,
I'm sure you did in response to something I said. I never had a complete set of everything. The biggest set I had was, you're going to cut that out. Ha! That's good.
That is pretty good.
Oh, here's a classic. I remember this one. I should sing so low you can't hear me. That's a classic.
That's a good one.
That's the best segue you had. Huh?
The second part of that is that I should sing tenor.
If
10 or 20
anybody,
miles away.
I never even heard that version. 10 or 12 miles away. I'm stealing that joke, bro. You really don't need me for this. You really don't. How do bugs in your body give you ESP? I think you were making fun of Scientology.
No, that was midichlorians.
I think that was a premature no homo. Yeah, probably that. Hey, this 99-cent game I found at the dollar store wasn't very good. Fucking duh. The real Merlin magician is holding his wand in his right hand, and I'm thinking that's fucking evil. What is that about? What is that?
Again, I swear, if you go back and listen to these episodes, I probably had a point, but you take this shit out of context, and like,
it's
this
even
should
better.
Be in a book. Like, this is like the fucking art of war.
No, the best one ever was, we promise we won't rape you, but that wasn't on here, though.
That wasn't on there. That was that shady-ass fucking building.
We promise we won't rape you. You're not a real man because you're not drinking our carbonated piss. If you jerk off to raping the Indian, go away, you're excused. Whenever you grow a set of...
I know what that's about. I actually know that one.
That was the Atari game, right?
That was Atari's Custom Revenge, and I was like who's like getting off on this? If you were getting... I believe my exact line was, we always say, like, don't tell the audience to leave. You know what? If you're getting off on this, you're excused. You may go.
What about this one? You might get in trouble for this one, Ed, even though you were being sarcastic. Whenever you grow a set of balls and aren't a homosexual queer, we'll get you a Miller Lite. Remember that quote?
Oh, I do remember that one. That is me being sarcastic. For people who don't understand, I was really pissed off about the current stream of Budweiser commercials where they were making fun of, like, oh, you won't drink our shit? Well, you must be gay. It's like they were really like pushing that, like, you were not a real man. They were even like pushing maybe you play for the other team because what are you drinking, that artisanal stuff, that local brew? All right, limp wrist. And it's like, Jesus, bud, your stuff sucks. What is this fucking, like, how insecure do you have to be? They're like, no. I think what really annoyed me about it is that the only person that would work on is someone that's underage. Like, that is clearly like pushing underage drinking, because anyone over the age of 21 is not falling for that kind of tactic.
No, it's very predatory. What about this one, Ed? The Loch Ness Monster is watching me.
The Loch Ness Monster is watching? Was that an Earthbound thing?
I don't know, but here's one that really makes no sense. 2 in or 8 in, my drink's very chunky tonight. What is that?
In or 8 in, my drink's very chunky tonight. I have no idea.
He can run so fast, blah, blah, blah. Who gives a fuck? I'll show you how to make a turkey.
I'll show you how to make a turkey. He can run so fast.
These are so much... These are so much better out of context.
These should really be like a book. Like, this is like the art of war, like some Zen thing. He can run real fast, blah, blah, blah. I'll show you how to make a turkey.
Jews never lie.
That's a haiku, for fuck's sake.
Jews never lie, though we may embellish. Freedom fries. Oh, I am not calling them that. You are a retard.
That is... Yes, I agree. I would not call them freedom fries.
No, you call them Ed fries.
Ed fries. They are, that's a Simpsons line. That, Herschel Krostowski. Oh, we don't lie. We made, embellish. We made, like, stretch the truth. We must tell stories that I've never tell stories that have never happened. But lie? Never. That's, who played him? Shit. Who was the famous Jewish actor that played, Krusty's dad?
Oh, I don't remember. Was it Mel Brooks? No.
No, it wasn't Mel Brooks. He did appear on The Simpsons, but not for that. It was... Shit. Hey, talk to the audience for a second while I don't
talk to the audience.
Oh, so death.
Remember, Ed, that's a plot hole. Because he knows how to read all of a sudden. You know,
Jackie Mason.
That's right. That's right.
And yes, that is a plot hole.
And then he got paralyzed, so she said, "Fuck him," and we went to go hump someone else in the sequel.
And he got paralyzed. Oh, Pocahontas.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Obviously, You're 8. You're not buying the stuff yourself. The Inspector Gadget movie raped my childhood. Yes. I have testicles, so I didn't go see the movie. When Heather hired Gadget Boy, did she ask him his age? And when he told her, did she say, "Well, I'll pretend you said 18. You're on the case." I'll pretend you said 18, bro. Oh, my God.
Oh, wow, that takes us back.
That takes us back, bro. Old scandals in wrestling nobody talks about anymore.
Man, Jesus. Hey, wrestling with regret. Did they ever touch that topic?
I don't know, man. That's a big regret. You think I asked for a 12-inch penis?
Oh, shit, that's funny. I forgot all about that. That you just brought back memories there.
This is from 2011, man.
Shit, that was...
Wait a minute. Wrestlers don't do HGH anymore, or any less.
You know what's funny, though? Like, I could do the same... You know what? One day I'll get around to it. If I ever break out, like, the recording equipment again, I have to talk about the new Inspector Gadget cartoon on Netflix. The writing's not bad, the voice acting's not bad, but it looks like a bunch of balloon animals rubbing into each other. Like, it is like sweatshop CGI, and it's so sad that they went that route.
They always fuck up shit from the past.
I mean, overall, it's not terrible. There's changes, but it's fine. Like, Dr. Claw is more of a goof, but so they're going for more of a comedy feel, so that's fine. Penny's old enough to be she's like a teenager now, so she works with Inspector Gadget as part of the agency. Again, this is all fine. The writing is hit or miss at times, and it's a kid's cartoon. Like, let's not take it so seriously. But the sweatshop CGI just ruins it. Like, I can't look at it. It's like, how is this so ugly?
Why the fuck would you buy the Wonder Bread? What was that about?
Why the fuck? Oh, I don't know. I'm betting because I prefer, like, there's like the fresh baked bread right there. And right next to the fresh baked bread, the Wonder Bread's even more expensive. So it's like, why would you buy the Wonder Bread?
The year is 1933, and you might have seen Al Capone dance to Charleston on top of a flagpole.
With that.
You killed that one dead, bro.
Next episode, we start with that.
They don't actually have names, but you can give them names like Sitting on Cock, and if it makes your day. That's a good one, bro. You're pretty funny, Ed.
Context is hilarious.
You're pretty funny. We forgot how funny you were, bro. It's been so many years.
You know, Turtles, when we do that Turtles show, for example, like the year was 1989. You may have seen Al Capone.
Over and over again. Actually, I did go to school with a Russian exchange student named Sergey, but fuck him, he was probably lying.
That is true, though. I did.
He's a flamer and a fob. You were talking about Simon Belmont from Captain N.
Yes, what they did to Simon Belmont.
You can't say these things anymore, Ed.
No, we can't. That was a different era. You can't judge me by things I said last year.
Well, unless you're James Gunn. What if the Hokey Pokey really is what it's all about? Will I ever be able to defeat Pokey? I think it's much easier to be slightly crazy to get through life. That's actually a good life lesson there.
It's only getting worse as time goes on.
How did we take this turn? Okay, we did that one already. I like the idea of an ice cream sundae.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I talked through it.
What?
Do that ice cream sundae one again. I talked through it.
Yeah, I like the idea of an ice cream sundae. That's what it was.
You know what the best part is? I remember what that's from. I remember because we were talking about how they ruined a video game. They added a bunch of shit to it. And I was like, I like the idea of an ice cream sundae, but then they put dog shit on top of it, and it's not so good anymore.
That might have been before PNB. That might have been on one of the shows that we did on Super Friends. Holy shit.
I don't even remember.
That might have been before. Anyways, we're off the rails. Get out of here. Thanks, Ed, again, and thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.